Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen, and this video is going to be a step-by-step on how I mounted my MotorGuide Xi3 Kayak trolling motor to my Bonafide SS127. Look at the mess. Alright, so to start with, the noise in the background is my air conditioning. It's going to stay on. It's hot and humid here in Georgia, and I'm tired of sweating. So we're going to leave that on. You guys are just going to have to deal with the background noise, but it's not too bad. Alright, let's go through the parts and pieces you're going to need to rig this MotorGuide and the tools. First of all, the parts and pieces. Alright, to start with, I have the mounting plate that is made by One Objective. They sent this to me last week. They've only been making it for about a week and a half, 2 weeks or something like that. Not very long, but it is made for the SS127, and it's made to accept your next piece, which is the quick release bracket from MotorGuide. This thing is a must. You do not want to trailer and travel with your motor permanently mounted to your kayak, so you want to be able to take it off and stow it in the back of your car or your truck and travel without it on, and then be able to put it on really quick. So this is a must. Alright, so your trolling motor plugs. The ones I use and the ones I recommend are the Atwood troll. This is the Atwood trolling motor plug. It's got 8-gauge wire in it. I'll pull it out of here. That's the female plug. And then the male receptacle that goes with it looks just like this. And they're working on getting a kit together as they start to sell this kayak trolling motor. They're working on getting a kit together where you can order it and you'll get all of this stuff. Okay, so the next thing that would be in the kit is a fuse. Now, if you have a 55-pound thrust trolling motor like I'm putting on here, you want to have a 60-amp fuse. This one is the best. It's waterproof, made by Atwood. The other one is an option if you're going 45. And I recommend it if you're on a budget, but I'd get that if you can afford it. They're not that much more expensive. But this one right here is just a simple 50-amp fuse, and it's perfect for the 45. Wiring, 8-gauge wire. I don't care if you're doing a 45 or 55. 8-gauge is probably going to be your less problematic. 10-gauge will work good on a 45, but if you ever up to something like a 55, you're going to want to up to an 8-gauge wire. 10 feet of each, red and black. This is silicone coated, waterproof. This is marine grade wiring. Then these are heavy duty 1/4-inch lugs, and I'm going to order some 3/8-inch lugs. But these are hard to find. I found them on Amazon. I'm going to leave a link down in the description to all of this stuff, and if I can find out where you can buy it from, I'll put that link down there too. The next is a Yak Attack through-hole wiring kit. And you'll see how we use this later. And to clean things up is the new TRC rod covers wire cover, which is just makes things really cool and clean. And you'll see how I use that towards the end. Should be pretty awesome. Anything else? Nope. Let's go to tools. All right. So pretty simple. You need some drill bits. You need a drill. I use a power drill screwdriver. They don't recommend it, but I torque mine down to about a 5, so it doesn't over torque it and pull things out of the plastic. Bits or a handheld screwdriver. An electrician's tool to work on your wiring. A step-up drill. This I completely recommend. They're not that expensive at Home Depot and Lowe's, but this saves you a lot of time and trouble, and it makes perfect holes when you need those big holes for like the plugs and the through-hole wiring kit and that kind of stuff. Definitely a must. Next thing is a fish wire, and I just use a piece. I have some fencing wire outside. I just cut back, and this thing is I've rigged probably 5 or 6 different kayaks with this specific piece of wire, but it's about 10 feet long. I put a little hook on the end, and it helps to run to fish the wire and anything else you need through the hull of your kayak. So that's a must. And that's it for right now. If anything else pops up while I'm doing it, I'll just go ahead and mention it because I know I'm probably forgetting something. But let's get to it. Let's start mounting this sucker up. Alright, so the first thing we're going to have to do is mount the quick release bracket onto the mounting plate, the One Objective mounting plate. And it's going to go on something like this. The screws, the holes are already drilled for it, everything else. And the hardware comes with the mounting plate. And you just drop 4 screws down it. Ooh, I'm going to need some Allen wrenches. Alright. line up the holes, and then these go on the back side. Boy, it's hard to hold this so a camera can see it and I can see it too. Get my hands on that. All right, now we're going to mount this up front. We've already removed the handle. And the nice thing about this one objective mount is I don't have to drill any holes. None. You mount, the top part of the mount goes where the boss strap was, and the other part screws in where the handle goes, and then the handle screws over top of that, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and knock that out real quick. Just going to start these screws. I'll tighten them down in a minute. Now with the handle, if you don't start these by hand with a regular screwdriver, you run a really good risk of cross-threading them when you do that. So you really want to use a screwdriver for this one. How cool is that? That makes it really easy. Now from here we're gonna do all the wiring and everything else, but I want to get the trolling motor in here, get it mounted up, and figure out where I'm going to put the wiring on this kayak. Man, that's so cool. Alright, so next we've got to mount this part of the quick release mounting bracket to the MotorGuide. And what I have here is the Xi3, the new kayak 36-inch shaft motor. It's real simple. It's got a screw on this side and a screw on this side, and you're going to remove just this side plate, this plastic side plate. Nope.
Wrong way.
Nope, right way.
Oh,
not enough torque. Alright. One little screw, this pops right off and gets you to all the little mounting grooves, or whatever you want to call them. Alright. Just repeat on the other side. Alright, so this is how the bracket's going to go on. Now this bracket will work for just about, well, for most kayaks. You may have to get a little bit creative, a little bit inventive to get it to mount on your specific kayak. And just like what they've done over at One Objective, they created a plate for the SS127. I imagine they're going to try to do that for as many kayaks as they can. But just get inventive and figure out how to mount it to your specific kayak. All right, so now let's take this and mount it to the bottom of the trolling motor. But before we do that, we want to orient the locking clip. And what this clip is it helps to lock this in, and it gives you a place to put a padlock in and lock it onto your kayak, you know, securely. But I want mine to be on this side. You can put it on either one, but mainly because I always put my kayak on the driver's side of the trailer. Just gives me a little bit more convenient place. So I'm going to put it right there just so I don't forget. It just lines up with one of the holes. And you take it over here, and you want to make sure that you remember that this is the front of the bracket, and it needs to go to the front part of the trolling motor. And the holes line up perfectly, and the kit comes with all the screws you need. I'm just going to drop a few screws in just to hold it in place, just like that. And then just finish putting them in. Now the way that they recommend that you tighten them down is you have a 10mm locking nut and a washer, and you just tighten it down all the way around. Drop a washer in, put a locking nut in, and good to go. Okay. All right, let's see how it fits. Where's the little bar? There it is. Whew.
Oh man.
Might need to move the sawhorses a little bit so this thing doesn't fall on its nose. Look at how nice that is.
That's fancy.
Alright, so let me slide the sawhorses up. Alright, good. Nice! All right, so now we get into the electrical part, which is, I have a lot of experience working with electrical boats. I used to build electric boats way back in the day, but I'd buy like old trackers and gut them out and rebuild them and make them all electric. But anyway, the scary part is when you've got to cut the power cord to your trolling motor down to about 6 inches long. See, I want to be able to mount the receptacle or the plug right here. And I want to have the shortest wires that I can get out there and get it, you know, make it look clean and everything else, but it also stays out of the way of my rods when I lay my rods up here. I don't want anything to keep my rods from laying the way I want to. So we're going to make a real short cord and we're going to plug in to right there. So that's what we're going to work on right now. The scariest part though is this.
You want to measure it for? Oh, okay.
Even Jordan's worried about me. Ah, here we go. 1, 2, 6. Ah!
It didn't work. Oh.
Done. Alright, red on red.
Black on black.
Black on black. So we go red on red. Black on black. So one of the things I forgot to do is I forgot to put the TRC cover on the wire before I connected it all. So I had to cut the little wings that you use to pull this plug out off so I could fit the TRC cover over. But with these TRC covers, this was actually my idea. I contacted them and said, hey, why don't you guys start making cable covers to just make wiring and stuff look so much cleaner. And they did, but this is what I'm going to use just to kind of make it, cover up the wires, make it look nice and clean. And then like I said, I'm going to install the plug right there. Okay.
You're an idiot.
Yes I am. Alright, so let's locate about where I want this. I'm just going to go, I want to go right about there. Let me make sure I'm going to have room. Yeah, I may have to put it centered. I'm just going to eyeball it. Stick it about right there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just tap a hole. Just like that. Alright. Then grab the step up. Okay, and I'm going to gradually, I'm going to try to, I can't remember how big this is. I know it's over 1 inch, but I'm going to drive this in till I'm close. I mean, look how clean that hole is that it makes. That's why I say these things are so important when you rig kayaks. I don't think I'm anywhere close, but I'm just going to check it. A couple more steps. There we go, that's perfect. That's going to go right there. And I'm going to put 2 screws in, and that'll plug right in. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run the wire all the way through the boat. So I'm going to start in the back of the boat, take off the access panel. Then we just take our wires. I'm going to run a few feet down in here, kind of tuck it off to the side. About like that. Okay. And I'm just going to shove as much of this wire down in here as I can, but just try not to get it wrapped up or kink too much. Okay. Good. Tie off a little bit right here. Not much. I'm not doing this tight. I just want to keep it from pulling through the boat. You can do that with this flexible stuff right there, just like that. All right. Grab my wire. Alright, so we pulled the wires through. Now, one thing that you don't want to forget is to install the fuse. You're going to install it in line on the red wire. So in other words, it's going to go in between here and here. So I'm going to go ahead and strip this wire real quick. Only about 1/4 of an inch. And I just don't have a stripper that works really good with these, with this size wire. So I use my trusty Essie knife. Cut that one off. Cut that one off. And let's do this. Alright, so one of the things that I always forget is I always forget to put the heat shrink on before you put any terminals or anything else on. I'm really bad at doing that. But anyway, it fits nice and neat down in there. Now, I always need a hammer to get these things closed. These are just, they're really, really, really hard to do. So I'm going to try to start it, but I know I can't. Okay, pinch it down a little bit. Make sure that that wire is pushed in there real good. Okay, and then I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to lay it down on this board, and I'm going to hammer with my little trusty kid's hammer down onto it until it gets good and squished. So I'm going to have Jordan help me, so you're not going to see it on camera. All right, here we go. All right, so let's
Shrink the
heat shrink, make it nice and neat. Pull the other one out. Same deal. Alright, so now what you do is you take the lock nuts off of your fuse, and you notice right here it says battery line, BAT line, and it says load, auxiliary load right here. So your line coming from your battery is going to go right here, and your line coming from your trolling motor is going to go right there, and we just tighten them down. Alright, well, I think I'm going to put this fuse right there just to get it up out of the way so it just doesn't bang around and stuff like that. So simple, easy. I have a box. Let me show you my box real quick. I've been keeping this box for years of just parts and pieces and screws. These are 1/4-20s and just the things that I use for rigging a kayak or whatever. Mostly stainless steel stuff. So I just reached in here and pulled out whatever would work, and I got some 1/4-20 nuts, locking nuts, and some screws, and that's all I'm going to use to mount it. So, but the first thing you got to do is, because this is such thin plastic right here on the lid, I got to get my drill. What do I do with my drill? Put it right here and drill some holes. So lay that up there about where I want it. Mark a hole. Alright, drill it through. And I'm not going to drill the other hole until I have this screw in. I'm just going to bring it through. Just like that. Drop a washer. We'll tighten all this stuff down in a minute. Okay, gets me that one position. Hold everything tight. Alright, we'll tighten everything down and it'll be set. Alright, so to make this clean and kind of give you enough play so it doesn't... So the wire, you don't want the wire to pull tight and get loose and pull tight all the time. So I'm going to strap everything down and I'm going to show you guys a trick, okay? So you got this little lip right here on the Bonafide. Take a 1/4 inch drill bit, drill a hole. Yeah, about right there. Actually, let's put one... Yeah, let's put one right here to start with. We're going to throw some zip ties on there, but I'm going to show you my trick. Okay, going a little bit low. I think my drill bit needs to be sharpened, I think. Okay. Alright, so you take your zip tie and you run it. Let me see if I can do this right. It comes through this side. Run it through the back way. Come on. Can't do this with my left hand. Okay. Then run it back through. Just like that. Connect your zip tie. And zip it tight. Just like that. So you've got one loop, and we're going to do another one right here, but we're going to run this one backwards. So we're going to put one about right here. Okay. We're going to run this zip tie here and around the wires on the inside. I have no coordination with my left hand. There we go. Just like that. Get that off. As you can see, it just kind of tucks everything away, and I'll put another one right here. Put another one right there, and then let it run to the back of the boat, and it just keeps it up and out of the way, and when you close it, it closes just like that, nice and neat. Pretty cool. Jeez, what am I using that bit for? Alright, give me a start and switch over to my step-up drill. Okay, so it needs to be 1 inch in diameter. So I'm going to start it. Okay. This is the hard part. Maybe I ought to put it back over here somewhere. There we go. Let's put it right there. Make sure I'm not going to hit the wire. Close. I don't think it's quite 1 inch. All right, so now to run the wires out of the back of the boat and so I can hook up a battery, I'm going to use, of course, the Yak Attack through-hole wiring kit. And this is kind of how it goes together. It's really simple. You have a little plate, plate right here. You have these little washers, or what I guess they're calling them grommets. And you select the ones you want. And I just want, because I don't want to split these wires and bring it out 2 different holes, I'm just going to use the one that has 1 single hole. And that means I need to use the other half, needs to be the F, which is a solid piece. Okay, I'm just going to place that here and place that right here just like that. Run this through and it fits just like this, and you just drill 2 holes, drop the screws in, and we're good to go. And that's what I'm going to do. These are supposedly self-tapping screws, but I'm still going to drill a hole. Put that one in there. All right, so now to connect the battery. The battery I'm going to use is still in the mail. I'm getting the Dakota Lithium 100 amp hour battery, 12 volt battery, and that should last me a day and a half of fishing. It really should, especially with that trolling motor. But you can see how it's all connected, ready to go. When that thing comes in, I'm going to drop it in and be ready to go. I'm excited. Now with the PinPoint GPS anchoring system, this thing is going to be absolutely awesome. I'll just be able to get out, fish offshore, and not worry about dropping an anchor, and it's just going to be a blast. So we're done with the trolling motor. The next thing we're going to do is lights. I've got a ton of other stuff to do with this kayak, and we'll film that as we go along. But this has been fun. I'm excited. Well, like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water. Go ahead and catch some fish and have a great day. We'll see you.